In a previous video, I discussed how becoming flooded during difficult discussions will derail your conversations about hard topics and even light topics, and can lead to issues that become entrenched and perpetual. So they come up again and again. And we also discussed using self-soothing to help avoid going into physiological and emotional over-arousal. In this video, I'm going to discuss an equally important skill in managing conflict, and that is the use of a softened startup when you need to bring up something that potentially could be a difficult topic for your partner. So we can either start a discussion with a softened startup or a harsh startup. So I want to look at the difference in how they look and what the end result will be, depending on which you use. Sometimes the things that drive us most crazy in a relationship are the most mundane, like dishes in the sink that get piled up, stinky socks on the floor that don't get picked up. We may complain, criticize, and yell, but the end effect is that the dishes don't get done and the socks eventually migrate right back to the floor, and we are in a position to end up feeling more distanced and more angry towards our partner. So if complaining doesn't work, neither does ignoring what drives us crazy. Because over time, a couple can see their relationship in what Dr. John Gottman describes as a negative perspective. And that's when we get so focused on the negative that we become unable to recognize even neutral or positive actions from our partners. And that snowballs our unhappiness. As a couples therapist for many years, I've seen the situations that bring clients to treatment range from catastrophic events like affairs, severe illness, even the death of a child, to even, the most small, trivial, even mundane, like wet towels that are left on the floor repeatedly, or cluttered countertops, dirty sinks. Sometimes these seemingly little things can lead to situations that drive a wedge between couples that can go on for years. And research has shown that couples wait an average of 7 years before they come in to counseling or they begin to address an issue after they're aware that there is a problem. It's hard to go to therapy, or it's hard to really face these things. Sometimes we think ignoring it will help or make it go away, but it actually makes it worse. And that's a lot of water under the bridge, a lot of built up anger and hurt and emotional distancing. Then when you come to counseling, often the relationship has begun to crumble with deeply entrenched negative thoughts about the relationship. So fighting about the dishes is no longer about the dishes. It's about a partner's poor character. She's so self-centered. He's so lazy. One of the most useful things to learn is to complain without blame and to begin a conflict discussion with a softened startup. We know that about 94% of the time, the way a discussion starts determines the way it will end. So if you're telling your partner, hey, you never clean up your messes. I've been telling you this for years. I think you just are lazy and you don't care about me. That will be one of those 4 destroyers of a relationship, or 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that we've talked about, like criticism, a global attack on a person's character. But luckily, we know that like all the other 3 horsemen, destroyers of the relationship, which I'll talk about in the next video. There's an antidote. And the antidote to criticism is one of them is to complain without blame. You take responsibility for your feelings and needs by saying something more like, I know you do so much with the kids, and you're such a good dad, giving them so much playtime. I really appreciate all that you do. Yet in the end of the day, I can end up feeling so exhausted that trying to clean up all the playthings. Do you think maybe there's a way we could work together with the kids involved too? Maybe we can take a unified front in helping model for them how to clean up after playing. So that's an alternative way of saying, hey, you're such a messy slob, right? It's important to take ownership for communicating your needs and responsibility for how it might help to do it better, and to do that without judgment. And it's also important to look at perpetual issues in your relationship and see if there may be things that you're not listening or giving attention to in regard to your partner's feelings and needs. Are you, in fact, acting with self-interest and ignoring what your partner asks for in the relationship? Perhaps causing more recurring situations? And this is equally important. When we use soften startups, we end up being better able to see each other's points of view and each other's good attributes. And that decreases that negative thinking about our partner, which will squeeze out relationship enhancing thinking. So doing soften startup takes a bit of practice, but eventually this way of bringing up conflict begins to be second nature, and it feels good. A partner who joins in with a positive response helps to sustain and reinforce this healthier way of handling conflict. So you can try this on your own, and I also have some exercises in some of the posts attached to this that you can practice that are from the Dr. John Gottman's work.